I am the God. Bitch, I'm the God. Bitch, I'm the God. Bitch, I'm the God. I am the God. I am the God. I am the God. Yeah.
Greetings. Welcome to episode 33. This is container 10, part 1. And I took a quick glance in this container, and it is quite the hodgepodge of items. So my container 9 was all Japanese. This container is just all nonsense all over the place. So let's take a look. We have some empty boxes that were shrink wrapped. So we have Super Monaco GP. We have the incredible Crash Test Dummies. I guess you would take the empty box up to the counter and it would be $15. We have a beat up copy of Alien Syndrome, the European release. We have what sounds like this is just the game and the manual of Defenders of Oasis. Now, mind you, I have a ton of loose games and manuals that when combined with all these would complete these games. We have an empty box for Side Pocket, $19.99 at KB, and it was a hot buy for $19.99. But that's just the empty box. Here we see an empty store box and for Hook, and I have the manual with it laying right on top. So I had some effort to prepare these games to be complete. It was probably just a coincidence that I brought them together. This is PGA Tour Golf 2. The box with the manual. And that is definitely a game that I know that I have loose. It's just a matter of bringing all of them together in one spot. Samurai Showdown, Buy Right Now. Right spelled R-I-T-E. $19.99. From buyrightgames.com. And I cannot tell you where these games came from, these boxes. I don't know where I got so many empty boxes that were sealed. They're shrink wrapped for a store to put on display. All boxes empty. This would be Micro Machines 2 Turbo Tournament. We have Quest for the Shaven Yak, starring Ren Hoek and Stimpy. So a store must have been going out of business and selling off their display boxes in an auction, and I bought them. Super Monaco GP2. This is the box with the manual. A European release. We have the European release of Ninja Gaiden, just the box, but in really, really, really good condition. So I'll have to bring the manual together with the game to complete this, so I'd have it complete. We have The Simpsons, Bart versus the Space Mutants by Flying Edge. Empty box. This has some weight to it. This has the manual and the box, and the hanger tab was never folded out, so it's still in there. And this is Super Smash TV, the European release. So that's in really good shape. Same thing, the hanger tab was never folded out. So they must have just taken the game and the manual out and put the box on the shelf. And basically, if you wanted the game, you brought the empty box up to the front, and they'd give you the game and the manual, and you'd pay for it. And this is Paperboy, European release. Let's see what is in here. Random paperwork of some type. Here we have the empty box Chuck Rock, and I have 2 copies of the manual laying right on top. So I'm all set to go there with completing, putting the game, tossing the game in there, picking the best manual, and bam, the game is complete. We have a loose game. This sticker that says 3 is from a local thrift store, and it is the game Slider. So the very rare experience of finding a Game Gear game at a thrift store. That's one of them. And then we have a second copy of it. Why they are together, I don't know. Then we have 3 copies of Championship Hockey. So I have all 3 together because Championship Hockey is kind of one of the semi-rare games for the Sega Game Gear system. So whenever the game would pop up cheap, I would just pick it up, and there are 3 of them. We have a loose Earthworm Jim. Which is one of my favorite games on the system. I really like playing Earthworm Jim. We have Crystal Warriors, European box, in super good shape. Just feels like the manual is in there. And I have yet to discover my loose games. Although this box is heavy at this container is heavy at one end, so I'm wondering if that is manuals or loose games. We will find out. Here's the European box for Slider, and someone had cut off the hang tab, but that's the box. We have The Simpsons, Bart versus the Space Mutants again by Flying Edge. The European box. We have Axe Battler, A Legend of Golden Axe. This feels like the empty box with the manual inside. And then we have a second copy. Again, it says all boxes empty, which must be from a video game store. That probably just said Game Gear's dead. I'm just going to sell off all the boxes. And I managed to pick it up. I have a flattened copy of Sonic Drift 2. That I could resurrect from the dead with a manual and game. Straighten out the box a little bit. We have Devilish, Again, the hang tab never folded out. The European release of Devilish. I told you this box is going to be a hodgepodge. This has the manual in it. This is Solitaire Poker. Again, the hang tab never folded out. So they must have just had been sitting on a shelf instead of hanging on a rack of some sort. We have Fantasy Zone, the European release. The box, and I can tell by the weight, has the manual inside. And if one's not good enough for you, then we have two. Fantasy Zone. We have Alien 3, and I have the European manual to go with it, but this box has been left for dead. This box is really banged up, crushed. So it would be a game that I would complete and then sell off in a lot, probably. We have Disney's Tailspin. This is just a loose box. I can tell there's no manual or anything inside. We have the Lucky Dime Caper starring Donald Duck. Empty box. We have Dragon, the Bruce Lee story. And this box has the paperwork and the inserts the tray card, the tray for the game with the plastic bag that the game came in. And then I put on top the manual for it, so all it needs is the game. And we'd have a complete copy of that. And the box is in really, really good shape, which is always good to see. We have Arena, Maze of Death with the manual. Add a game, have a complete game. We have the European release of Ninja Gaiden. This box is pretty crushed up. It's been sat on, or something heavy has been stacked on top of it prior to me getting it. I'm very careful with how I packed my containers. The Chess Master, the European release. Think you're pretty good, do you? Well, the Chess Master just might teach you a thing or two. Thousands of classic moves. 1 or 2 players. It's a puzzle game. And I can see right away that we have a second copy. So we have 2 of the Chess Master. Oh, I take that back. This one's in bubble wrap. And I put this in bubble wrap because the box is in really good shape. Well, I take that back. It's in okay shape. So it's a third Chess Master. And this just needs to fold down inside the box if you're going to put it like on a hanger tab. We have Global Gladiators from McDonald's. And I have it twice. So a lot of European, empty European boxes in here. So we have 2. fold that down. Oh. One got away from me. Global Gladiators McDonald's by Virgin Games. We have Cool Spot. 7-Up Cool Spot. Have the manual right next to or on top of the box. I don't know if I've showed a Cool Spot yet. This might be the first. I know I have it sealed, brand new sealed. I just don't know if I've come across it yet in the containers. We have Paperboy with the manual laying right on top. We have another Fantasy Zone. I think that's 3 then. We have Shinobi. 24.99. I believe that symbol is for British pounds or euros. I'm not sure which. So these came from overseas. Back before collecting vintage games, you'd find auctions for lots of games, like 30 games in one lot, or 20 empty boxes in one lot, or the little plastic clear containers for the games, and you'd buy a whole lot, so you'd buy 30 of them or 40. And I think the biggest game lot that I bought was for empty boxes, and I believe it was for over 150 boxes. And that's where I got my prototype boxes from, was in that auction. But, yeah, I was excited at the time. Halley Wars. And it was not that expensive, because back then there wasn't a demand or an interest really in collecting vintage video games. This is circa 96, roughly. 96, 97. The Lucky Dime Caper, starring Donald Duck. That would have been $18 if you wanted to buy that game, wherever it was posted for sale. We have George Foreman's KO Boxing. For $14.99. We have Junction. This box has been sat on. I don't think I've shown Junction. We have another Fantasy Zone. This box is in really good condition. Looks like they shrink wrapped it right away. And probably just had it sitting on the shelf for the longest time. So another Fantasy Zone. I think that's 4 now. Then we have Poker Face Paul's Gin with the manual right on top. Again, not complete, but all I need to do is find the game and toss the game in there. Okay, this is what added weight to this box. I'm not going to take out every individual, but these are all Sega Game Gear spare manuals. And I don't know how, I think I have them broken up alphabetically, yeah. So these are all spare manuals, which is why this box was so heavy at one end. I have the Sonic Drift 2 game cartridge that goes with that the box that I showed earlier. I had this off to the side, just saw it now. Here are all European game manuals. all European manuals. I separated the US from the European. So, spare manuals galore. And we have even more spare manuals for completing games or for upgrading games. So if you have a bent up or crushed manual for one of your games, I would just go into my spares and pull out the best condition one to complete the game. If I didn't have it brand new sealed, that is. Here are more manuals. Spare manuals for completing games. That's a lot. And I have one more box I'll show you. And it is another box of all Sega Game Gear game manuals. These are just placeholders. So these are all spare manuals. So a lot of empty boxes and manuals for completing bringing games together to make them complete. So, not a hugely exciting video. I did this half. I have just this half to do. So I will end the video here, and then part 2 will be pretty quick. But this is container 10, part 1. So I'll see you in 1 week for container 10, part 2, which will finish up this container. I hope you're doing well. Like the video if you like seeing this randomness. And I will be in touch in a week. Be well.
Hey guys! Oh, big gulps, huh? All right. Well, see you later.